Right, well, we're joined now by the head of campaigns for popular conservatism, Andrew Allison. Andrew, you've got a boy's name and a girl's name all together in the one name.
I have indeed, yes.
Could swap that round, couldn't we? So, Andrew, let's talk about this. Kemi Badenoch, she did win, but as Olivia alluded, there was a small pot of people who actually voted, and it was almost slightly sort of Brexity in its division. Do you think that the party will now finally rally behind a leader and get on with things?
Frankly, I think that he will. I think he has to. It's unite or die, really, Nana. But first of all, can I just say congratulations to Kemi? I mean, she fought a good campaign and she's won. Although it doesn't really make any difference to me that this is the fourth woman leader of the Conservative Party, the second non-white leader of the Conservative Party. I don't think it makes a huge amount of difference to many people in this country. For Labour, who's the party of identity politics, they still haven't managed that yet. So congratulations to her.
Yeah, I don't think it matters that somebody is a different colour, but it is a statement of fact. So I'm all with statements of fact, and I do think that it will be interesting how the Labour Party will approach her, especially since they have never had anything other than mostly, well, it's all white males running their parties, which is fine. But what we're pointing out is a statement of fact, but she's very talented, Kemi Badenoch, so it'll be interesting how she moves forward. Now, what about Robert Jenrick, though? Because they were very pally in terms of the fact that they will not make the same mistake that Liz Truss made by just literally getting rid of anybody who showed any opposition to her whatsoever, which didn't bode well for her. Are there any murmurings as to what Robert Jenrick might end up doing within her sort of group?
Well, that's completely up to Kemi, of course, and then up to Robert and what he accepts. But I certainly hope that there is a significant role for him in the shadow cabinet. I think an obvious one, if I may say so, is Shadow Home Secretary. James Cleverly has said that he's standing down anyway, so there is a vacancy there anyway. I think that will be a good role for him. He worked in the Home Office as Immigration Minister, and that's when he effectively changed his mind about lots of things whilst working at the Home Office, so that would be good. But it's interesting, that split, Nana, 56-44. It pretty much resembles the split that we had in PopCon, not amongst the team, but amongst our supporters. Every time we did surveys, it was pretty much like that, actually in favour of Robert over Kemi, but it was a very even split between our supporters. They wanted one of these candidates. So I think, from our point of view, we're delighted that someone who gets it, who understands that the party needs to reform and we need to reform the country, has actually won the leadership.
Now, of course, it is great. I do think it is great. I think she will be a good leader. My only concern for the Conservative Party is people just don't trust them. People just don't trust them to not do what they've been doing for however long. They got nothing done. So whoever leads it, then there'll be a fight, and then they'll decide to get rid of the leader again. Then we'll be back to square one, and a lot of people have given up actually putting faith in the party that they won't revert to that.
Yes, and you put on X this morning when you spoke at a PopCon event at the Conservative Party conference, and I remember very well what you said. I mean, the Conservative Party deserved to lose the last election because the Conservative Party was not conservative. It let down so many of its traditional voters, be on things like immigration or on balmy net zero policies and targets. And it just let its natural supporters down. And so therefore, the Conservative Party does have to become conservative again. And that's the one good thing. It would have been the same with Robert, and it certainly would be with Kemi, that we actually do have a proper conservative as leader of the Conservative Party. Now, the policies that she adopts, I mean, is she going to advocate us pulling out of the ECHR? Is she going to scrap some of these net zero targets? All of these things are to be decided. But I would suggest to her very humbly that if she does adopt these sort of policies, proper Conservative policies, then I think the Conservative Party most certainly has a bright future ahead of it. And
of course, even right now, for the first time, the Conservative Party are ahead of the Labour Party in one of the polls anyway. That must be surely good news.
Well, yes, it's some optimism. I mean, would you have thought on the 5th of July this year, as all those results were coming in, that the Conservative Party would actually have quite an upbeat conference for starters, and Labour's conference was rather downbeat for various reasons. And would you have believed that the new leader of the Conservative Party would come in on a wave of confidence with that first poll, which I think is the first time in 3.5 years any opinion poll at all in the country has had the Conservative Party ahead of Labour's. So, yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. It's just a matter of getting this right, uniting the party, everyone just getting behind the new leader, and then moving forward.
Well, and wasn't Rishi Sunak brilliant in his rebuttal of Rachel Reeves? I mean, I have never seen such fire in him as there. And he literally smashed her budget to smithereens. And I was blown away by it. I think that might have had something to do as well with part of the bounce that the Conservative Party are feeling.
Well, yes, it may well do, and I have to agree with you. It was an absolutely fantastic performance. I wish we'd see more of that side of Rishi when he was Prime Minister. I think all of us probably think that. But that was the best response to a budget that I have ever watched from a leader of the opposition. He did. He smashed that. He eviscerated Rachel Reeves' budget. It was absolutely fantastic. So, yes, maybe that does play a part in what the polls are saying now.
Well, I'm going to play a bit of that because I was so impressed. I need to see bits of it again. Have a listen.
National insurance, up. Capital gains tax, up. Inheritance tax, up. Energy taxes, up. Business rates, up. First-time buyer stamp duty, up. Pensions tax, up. They have fiddled the figures. I don't like it, Mr. Speaker.
He was brilliant, wasn't he? And I think he was right. Well, listen, Andrew, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
That is Andrew Allison. He is the head of campaigns for Popular Conservatism.